Exciting! Neo Geo! Max 330メガの劇的体験 Neo Geo System SNK.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and a continuing series, Neo Nostalgia, where I take a look at my favorite Neo Geo AES and MVS games of all time. We've already talked about Pulstar, what is probably my favorite 2D shmup of all time, so of course we have to talk about the pseudo sequel, Blazing Star. It is very similar and completely different all at the same time, and it is another game that I absolutely love. Before we get too far involved, though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we have a Patreon link down below as well. But Blazing Star feels very similar to Pulstar, but it also has all of its own things going on. It is in some ways better than Pulstar, and in other ways it's kind of a step back, but that doesn't mean I don't love the game. The one thing that kind of confuses me about it is just how uneven the stages are. Some are so spectacularly beautiful and mind-bendingly complex you can't believe that this is actually running on a 16-bit system. But they open up with a stage like this, which just isn't doing a ton off the top. There's not many enemies coming in, the background is one static image, sure there's a few details going on here and there, but once you see what else this game can do, you're going to wonder why they decided to open up with this game. Now I will say, as far as the difficulty is concerned, Blazing Star is a much easier game to beat than Pulstar. It kind of feels like it's almost getting towards the bullet hell genre in certain spots, but it still maintains more of that R-Type or Gradius series feel to it. And you'll see here as we drop down into the forest, we're going to get a lot more ships coming, and that parallax scrolling is spectacular. We have 3 different layers going on. The game is pushing a ton of sprites around the screen, and for the most part the slowdown is kept to a minimum. And just like Pulstar, this game is made with a lot of pre-rendered 3D elements that are turned into sprites. And I love as this ship comes in here. It kind of reminds me slightly of Metal Slug. It's both mechanical and organic at the same time. The way it moves is very animal-like, almost like a hermit crab. But of course it is made out of nothing but mechanics. And for the first boss fight, it's relatively easy, and that's what I said when I meant that this game does some things better than Pulstar and some things worse. I wish this game was a little bit more difficult, but if you're new to the genre, it's definitely going to be something that I think you're going to click with relatively quickly and get further into the game. It'll maybe make you come back and play more. But when I said this game was uneven, what I meant was this is the next stage, stage 2. Now look at what's going on. This is not 3D, it is all 2D elements, but damn it, it fools me every single time. It makes me think, even though I know 110% that it's not possible, that the Neo Geo is pushing polygons around. This just looks incredible. Why didn't they make this stage 1? Lead with the hot action, and then maybe kind of on stage 3 you could scale it back to that 2D element. But just everything going on in the background, the lights changing, those beams moving back and forth, almost looks like it could actually be 3D, and when this game is really pushing all of those sprites around, it is a sight to behold. And I do love the bosses as well. It almost has like a Darius feel to it in this one encounter. I know it's not a fish, but it reminds me of G Darius version 2 with one of the fish enemies that was green. And again, it's just a spectacular boss fight. You'll see that I have my satellite ship in the front, just like in Pulstar, and that can take some attacks from it. And you have different choices for your ship in the game as well, something that you do not have in Pulstar. So I took a death there, it was my first one, and I got relatively far in the game. You can see I can charge my shut up at the bottom, and you also have these lucky panels. They basically just increase your score for the most part. You can collect them or not. This is the type of game that you need to play for a high score, but you might have fun doing it. But just like in Pulstar, Blazing Star has an absolutely spectacular soundtrack, and I love it from start to finish. So go ahead and listen for like 45 or so seconds, and I'll come back and talk more about why Blazing Star is another awesome game that I love on the Neo Geo. Enjoy! It's definitely a more upbeat and more jazzy version of the Pulstar soundtrack, and I love it. Every single stage has excellent music, and it really marries well to the visuals to give you an overall sense of just how spectacular this game is. As we move further on with these pre-rendered 3D visuals, those gears moving in the background and all the different things happening, each stage has its own unique look and feel, and while I do love some more than others, everything is still really good to absolutely spectacular. Now the question is, which game do I like better, Pulstar or Blazing Star? And I would definitely say Pulstar is more to my liking, but Blazing Star is like 98% as good. And I love that it says, brace yourself, it's not time to relax yet. You thought you just beat the boss, but all you really did was get to the boss, and you'll see what happens here as we start to fight him. I love what this game does. It's definitely a horizontal shmup. You're going to be moving left to right 99% of the time, but every once in a while it's going to let you move vertically as well. And he's skidding down here with those sparks in the background. You were shooting him while you're also fighting him. It's just so much fun, and it is nice to just kind of move in a different direction for like 10, 15, 20 seconds, and as you get right down to the bottom, you just fall out directly into space, and the fight continues. I mean, how much fun is that? It's a really long boss fight that has multiple stages, 3 in total, and every time you think you've beaten the boss, there's a little bit more you need to do. I loved it when I first played it, just having that sense of realization and wonder as things change. And like I said, if you've never played this game before, you owe it to yourself and to me to check it out, because I want you to have that same sense of discovery and wonder as when I first played it as when you first play it. But you'll see here as we hop over to another stage as well, stage 4, it just keeps staying fun. Now we've got 4 different layers of parallax scrolling going on, and the screen is scrolling quicker. It just is always playing with the tempo and the pacing and the speed of the combat that's going on in front of you, and it kind of has like 10% Pro Gear vibes going on as well. And I do hope this video does well, because shmups on the channel are really hit or miss. I'm hoping the Neo Geo crowd kind of brings this one over the finish line for me. Now, if you do want an original AES copy of this game, I know I made a joke when I was talking about Pulstar that you better bring your wallet and your friend's wallet. Well, you better get your neighbor's wallet as well for this one, because you're talking $5,000 to $6,000 for an original copy that is complete. And I will say that there are a lot of bootlegs out there. Some people make conversion carts and advertise them as so. Some people make conversion carts and will not tell you about it. So this is a type of game that just don't bother with it, honestly. Some of the high-value Neo Geo games, there is no way to quantify their value. It's only if you want to spend the money for it. I would never pay the $6,000 to own this game, and I love this game. It's just not worth it to me. But if you do want to buy it for some strange reason, you got to do your research and you got to know who you're buying from, because if you just go on eBay and pick a copy of this up, you're probably as likely to get a bootleg that you pay $6,000 for as you are to get an original cartridge that was made back in the day. And that's the hard thing about Neo Geo collecting. Everything is extremely expensive now, and the market is flooded with bootlegs and conversions, and you never know what you're going to get unless you know what to look for. But I did a long time ago a video about trying to spot bootleg Neo Geo cartridges, and I think I'll leave a link below if I remember. But back to actually talking about Blazing Star the game, not Blazing Star the price. Again, just moving on, we're doing something completely different. We've left space and we're down on this planet now. We've got all these different green colors going on, and it's much more bright and vibrant. And even though, like I said, the graphics are a little bit inconsistent, this waterfall right here looks spectacular, and I've said in previous videos, there's something about water and sprite work on the Neo Geo that always just looked great. And this is one of my favorite bosses in the game as well. It's keeping that mechanical, organic nature. It's kind of spider-like, it's kind of like a squid. You're not quite sure what animal they're trying to emulate things on, but it definitely has the vibe of both of them, maybe even a little bit of a crab in there. It dives into the water, it dives out, it gives you a danger icon as to where it's coming from, so you need to move around the screen space and really avoid all of those projectiles as well as the boss ship itself. When I said this game, when it's done right, can look beautiful, it is just spectacular. You're going to see here where it's doing nothing really of much. The screen is going to flash, and now we're falling into the background in this pseudo 3D look again. Just like that earlier stage, we're moving left to right, and it looked like it had depth to it. And this is a perfect 2D illusion of a 3D screen space. I do feel like I'm falling into the background as all of those sprites are showing. You see more of them as they come closer. Look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see things reveal themselves. This is one of the best spoof spoofing of 3Ds I've ever seen in a 2D game, and it really does feel like it's only possible on the Neo Geo, and it's stuff like this that makes the Neo Geo AES and MVS my favorite platform of all time. And I love so many things, but the Neo Geo to me is still the #1 console that I own and collect for, and I don't think that will ever really change. But again, as we get further on, it's just fun. And that's what the takeaway for Blazing Star is. Is it as good as Pulstar? Probably not, but some people may debate me on that. But you're going to have a smile on your face the entire time you play. You can emulate this game. I'm playing it on MiSTer FPGA today, even though I've got a multi-cart or a flash cart for my Neo Geo, and it has been released on a decent amount of modern consoles. It's not as easy to find as Pulstar is, but you definitely don't have to go and spend $6,000+ on an original cartridge if you want to check it out. But yeah, that's Pulstar. Actually, Blazing Star. See, even I get them confused. That's how similar they are to me. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. Have you ever played this game? And if you haven't, do you plan on playing it? I will have another video in the Neo Nostalgia series next Tuesday, and I'll have videos throughout the week as well. But yeah, I'd probably say start with Pulstar, move to Blazing Star. You're going to have a ton of fun. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.